Hello everyone, not hello bitches this time. This video is going to be one of the most serious videos that I will ever do on my channel because I am sick of, having a funny tone behind of shit that's actually real and will actually cause a human extinction for you and I, okay? I'm going to be talking about 4 topics today that, if continued, will cause human extinction or worse, destroy the planet, which is basically human extinction, but like, come on, bro. These topics that I will be sharing about, I've talked about, lightly grazed upon it, or have never talked about it at all. And I just want to say before I get into this, I don't mean like any hate for people who are in these systems, okay? Because I'm that kind of person. If it doesn't affect me, it shouldn't affect me, and you can live your life the way you live it. But at the end of the day, it does affect somebody. It might not affect me personally, but it does like affect a large group amount of people who you think you're not specifically attacking, but you are, okay? But I do mean hate as well, because hate made me make this video about these things that people celebrate, normalize, and think it's okay. And it's just, life is not always great, and this is just one of them. No, okay? Especially things that we human have created, okay? So it's not just about life, okay? Because life, like schools is not just about life, especially back then. No other animal school has been a part of it besides us. No other animal has done religion, or have ever done religion, or school in general, besides us. No other human is set off to go to war, to get bombed or died, or other things like that. No other human has trauma from how their parents raised them, besides us. So it's not just about life and, oh, just get over it. This is serious shit, and people need to stop, worshiping or being a part of something like this, or dying, or only, saying over and over again, oh, it's bad, and you gotta get over it. Because shit like this, you just don't get over, okay? Now, the number one topic I'm going to be talking about today that will cause human extinction is religion. Religion is one of the things that I don't respect at all. And here is the reason. And also, I'm reading from a script, so if it sounds scriptural, like, bitch, it gets things in order, okay? It gets things in order. Yeah, I made up the script, but, I stutter and stuff like that, so I'm just trying to make it flow easily. Okay, let's get into it. Religion. You guys know I talked about religion in a hateful way many times, but I never get into like the actual in-deep reasons. And I always have like a funny tone about why I don't believe in religion. But the reasons I don't believe in religion is way deeper than you may even think, that I've never even mentioned. Okay? I try to make a video explaining it, but I watched back the video and was like, I didn't get as deep as it took me to like fully on like stop believing or being a part of religion, because I was a Christian all the way up till I was 12 years old. So I was a Christian for 12 years, raised Christian, never ever believed in God. I was always praying and talking to myself in my head. And the older I became, the more struggles I faced, and seeing other people struggle, and basically seeing it all, I like to put it, religion, it sounds like Santa Claus, like a fucking fairy tale. Like Santa Claus, oh, if you do good, you get presents. If you don't, you get coal. Like God, if you do good, you go to heaven, and you worship me, you do all this shit, you go to heaven. But if you don't, you go to hell. Okay? But people who are part of this religion is because of tradition or it helps them. And I get it to a certain extent. Religion can make people feel like they have a purpose in life, or give people comfort in life when it gets hard. But if you zoom in, not out, when you look at the bigger picture, religion has actually done way more damage than good. Religion has always divided people than bringing people together, like it claims it does, okay? It's people literally say, it's my belief, and if you don't share it, you're wrong or you're evil, or you get called much fucking worse, okay? That's why wars have been fought in the name of God for centuries. And now studies shown religion still fuels prejudice, okay? The Pew Research Center found that in countries where religion dominates politics, Afghanistan, you see more discrimination against minorities, against women, against the LGBTQ plus community. So yeah, it's not just spiritual guidance, it creates, world hate. There's always been the abuse in religion, okay? Let's be real. Has there ever used to be a cover-up of some of the worst crimes imaginable? Like Catholic churches is the most, infamous example of tens of thousands of kids abused worldwide, okay, by priests, and the church tries to hide it. But it's not just them. Almost every major religion has stories of leaders exploiting their power. And what happens? Most of the time, it gets swept under the rug. If any other organization had that, many scandals, society would have burned it to the ground. But because it's religion, people just look the other way. Okay, literally the 27th, a Catholic school just got shot up, and they're still saying, God bless them. God, carry the 2 children who died on the first day of school, that Catholic school. May they rest and be in heaven, which is crazy to me, because God didn't stop the school shooter to enter your fucking, you know what? Anyways, another thing, the mental health. Okay, a lot of people say religion helps them cope, but it also can make you sick in the fucking head. First of all, you have to be sick in the fucking head to even believe in religion. Okay, research have shown that religious guilt is a huge factor in anxiety and depression. Okay, just think about it. Being told your whole life that you're a sinner, or that you'll go to hell, fire, eternal fire, it will fucking mess you up. That creates a unhealthy human being. That creates shame, that creates fear, and especially bad for the kids who grow up in strict religious homes. They don't get freedom, they don't get to explore who they truly are, because religion makes them afraid to, ask questions, okay? And on top of that, religion shown slows down process. Okay, look at science. How long did it take to people accept that evolution actually exists? Okay, when I used to debate back in the day with Christian people and Muslim people, they denied evolution. My own mother denies evolution. Okay, she recently became Muslim. How do you deny the actual existence of people? There's been evidence shown that, the not to say the early human, but like the earliest of our creation, we were just a germ in the sea, and there has been studies showing it. So basically, you believe in science all the way up to when it doesn't question your faith. I mean, I don't understand that, okay? If you don't believe in science when it comes to you believing, then why do you believe in science when you have to brush your teeth, you got germs in your teeth, and obviously science has proved that there is germs in your teeth that makes your breath taste and smell bad, so brush your fucking teeth. God didn't tell you that, scientists did, okay? So all the way up to when it comes to your belief, no, evolution just simply doesn't make any sense. But people being made out of clay, or 2 people just appeared out of nowhere, and one other person was made from a rib of the other person, that totally makes sense, right? But anyways, on top of all of that, it slows down process as well. Like we're seeing today, human rights, abortion rights, gay rights, human rights, religion is always at the top, at the center of why people don't support these things. And that keeps society stuck in the past, bitch, okay? Why do you think that a man 2,000 years ago is going to come back to save us, okay? Or other things like that, okay? So, people always say, but religion helps people be good. It teaches morals. Where'd you get your moral? God, obviously. No, it doesn't. Morals comes from empathy, from communities, from understanding people. You don't need a book written 2,000 years ago or more to tell you not to kill somebody or steal. Religion doesn't, make morality. If anything, it twists it, okay? God killed the Israelites. I'm pretty sure that I said that wrong. But it doesn't make any sense, okay? And that's why, for me, I can't stand behind it. Because when you add up all of it, the division, the abuse, the guilt, and the evil, the way it blocks progression, you can start to see that religion isn't saving us, isn't protecting us, isn't making sure we're safe, it's destroying us. And it slowly, in ways people don't always want to admit it, kills us, okay? The next thing that I graciously, talked about, and, had a little commentary twist when I was talking about it, but it's like very serious. People who are in this consider this a job and a noble duty. And what is that? Being in the military, being in the Air Force, being in the Army, all of it. People act like it's this great noble thing. Like if you wear a uniform, you automatically deserve respect, okay? But the same people who are in this community rape women and but we'll talk about that, okay? Honestly, I don't see it that way. I see people signing up to kill other people, to bomb villages, to destroy land that doesn't even belong to us in the first place. And all for what? For politics, money, power, not for freedom, and not for safety, okay? Politics. You know the craziest part? A lot of people I've talked to who were in the military, okay, they admitted to only joining to prioritize their needs, like healthcare, and they can't afford schools. So it's basically a trap, okay? The government says, hey, your life is hard, cool, come fight us in wars, and maybe die for us. In return, we'll give you enough benefits to keep you quiet. That's not serving your country. That's exploitation, okay? Now let's talk about the reality of what happens to people who are in this kind of spaces, okay? Sexual assault in the military is literally off the charts. I have studies, don't forget, I have studies from the Department of Defense itself, says that thousands of women and men get sexually assaulted or assaulted every year, and most cases never get reported. And the ones that do, most of them go away out of nowhere. Imagine giving your life to serve, and your own people abuse you, or your higher-ups abuse you and cover it up. That's not culture in society that people want to follow, okay? Then it gives PTSD. Wars break people. The loud noises, the killing, the blood, it doesn't just go away when you come home, when you come back from home, that you left your 8 children or you're going out to fight in the war, okay? The VA reports that up to 20% of Iran and Afghanistan vets come back with PTSD. That means constant nightmares, constant paranoia, being triggered by fireworks or loud sounds. And a lot of those things or a lot of people get homeless, okay? Addiction to drugs to cope, or suicide. The numbers are literally crazy. Around 6,000 vets die by suicide each and every year of the USA, okay? That's more than the number we actually die in combat. Think about it. And let's not ignore the environment damage war causes, okay? War doesn't just kill people, it kills the planet. The USA military is one of the most biggest polluters in the world. Studies shown produce more greenhouse gas emissions that make entire countries go cray-cray in, the air, okay? All those planes, tank bombs, they don't just vanish, okay? They poison the fucking air, the soil, the water. So when people say they're protecting our country, I just literally fucking laugh, okay? Protecting us while destroying the world we live on, the earth, that doesn't sound like protecting at all. So, people will tell me, but the military keeps us safe, it keeps us free. And I'm just like, bitch, it's killing thousands of innocent civilians overseas to keep us safe. Bombing and shit like that. Polluting the planet is keeping us free. It's traumatizing and abusing people, not soldiers, making us stronger. Because from where I stand, okay, it looks like the military destroys lives more than saving it. And that's not a reason I should stand behind it, okay? To me, there's no glory in war. Have you heard that phrase before? There's no glory in war. There's no honor in dropping bombs. If anything, the existence of the military, the way it's now just another reminder of how messed up society has been, solves conflicts with words. Well, serve conflict with words. And we should still send kids off to kill and to be killed. When you turn 18, you're allowed to sign up. And 18 still a kid to me, bitch. I'm fucking 18. I'm still fucking a kid, okay? And people pretend it's such a noble thing to do. No, it's sickly. You die in the military. If you're in the military, you will fucking die, okay? Most leading reason someone who's took a vow on the Bible that I will never ever commit suicide, why this thing almost made me fucking pull the trigger on that fucking what? Let's talk about school, okay? I know people are like, oh, it's education's key, or everyone doesn't like school, okay, and it's a foundation of society. But if we're being real, the school systems we have today doesn't actually raise smart, capable adults, okay? It raises stress, anxious adults, confused kids who thrown in the world not knowing how to handle their life, okay? First of all, school doesn't teach you what you think you actually need to survive as an adult. Think about it, okay? How many hours did you spend learning about the Penguin theory, something I can't pronounce, or memorizing the dates from wars you'll forget in seconds when the test begins? But where were the classes on taxes, or on mental health, or how to apply for jobs, or how to actually pay your fucking bills, bitch? Or even the basic things like cooking healthy foods and managing the streets, okay? Those aren't extra things, they're life. Yet schools don't prepare you for it at all. Instead, they teach you how to follow order, sit down, be quiet, and memorize this. Don't ask too many questions, pass the test. And if you don't, you'll be labeled as stupid or lazy or a fucking... Oh, let me not say that. Okay, it's not about education. It's about conditioning. Conditioning kids to be fit in society that already doesn't care about them. Okay, but let's talk about the dark side of schools that no one likes to admit. The bullying, the violence. Kids spend years being bullied. Yes, I've. Day after day, and schools usually don't take it serious, okay? They act like they fucking do, but they don't, okay? They throw out the same anti-bullying assembly once a year, but when it comes down to it, the teachers look away. Studies show that 1 in 5 students, probably even more, in the USA are bullied. That's millions of kids carrying trauma through adulthood, okay? They'll attack you about being fat, they'll attack you about how your teeth look, how you laugh, literally about anything, okay? And let's be real, a lot of these schools kids who were ignored and isolated or even bullied until they exploded. And then they fucking shoot up a fucking school. That's not an excuse. It's proof that schools are failing the kids at the most basic human level. And speaking of shootings, that's not another horror that's normal now. Imagine being a child and have to practice lockdown drills, which is really somebody coming with a gun trying to shoot you because they have a chance someone might come and kill you. That's not education. That's trauma training. Kids are learning to hide under desks, like that's going to stop them, before they learn algebra. And yet politicians and schools act like, oh, that's just life now. No kid should ever have to feel unsafe just by going to class. Then there's a pressure, test after test after test after test after test. Grades deciding your worth. Kids are breaking down with anxiety and depression and records levels. The CDC has data showing that over 40% of high school students feel persistently sad or hopeless. And even suicide is one of the most leading causes of death for teenagers, okay? That's not just a coincidence, okay? That's a system that breaks down kids instead of building them up, okay? So when people say school is preparing you for life, it's not, okay? It's preparing you to be obedient, stressful, and not independent, dependent on a system that doesn't care about you. Where you might fucking, I'm not even going to say that, okay? But the truth is, school shouldn't be teaching emotional intelligence, or should be teaching emotional intelligence and, practicing skills and how to navigate relationships, whether it be friends, dating relationships, and most of all, how to take care of yourself and how to handle the real world. But instead, all it teaches you about tests, grades, and how to fit in. Now, this is the most number one shit that has been normalized, talked about it a little inch about it, and it has been ignored because, everyone has gone through this. Everyone has a bad parent. Let's talk about it. The kids are being raised these days is honestly disgusting in a lot of ways. Or just in general, kids being raised in like every time period because it's bad. Not the kids being themselves, they just have to survive. But in the system, the parents in the society are raising them to be the next generation. That's broken, okay? Because first of all, we got the extreme gender expectations that I talked about. Boys are told to be a man, don't cry and be tough. And girls are told to be nice, don't take up too much space, don't talk back to men, and be polite. These parents, they think they're teaching kids to be strength or good behavior, but at the end of the day, what it's really doing is making them weak in completely different ways. Boys grow up bottling their emotions, raping women in anger, and it later on, becomes anger or depression. Girls grow up triggering themselves, afraid to speak up and afraid to set boundaries towards literally anything. Neither of them are learning how to handle their life the way they need to live it, okay? Then let's get into the overprotective side of parenting. The helicopter parents, the walking on eggshells generation. Kids aren't allowed to fail, make mistakes, or even deal with disappointment. They're supposed to be loved. No, that's crippling, okay? That's crippling them. Failure is how we grow, how we learn resistance, how to shield when we're a kid from everything. And all you're doing is raising them to be fragile and dependent and terrified of reality, because reality sets in when you're a certain age, okay? No matter what gender you're in. And it's terrifying and it's crazy. And some might call that puberty, okay? A lot of parents these days can't handle when their kids talk back. And I'm not talking about disrespect. I'm talking about kids trying to state, real boundaries that the parents will skip over because, oh, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, so I'm allowed to do anything for you and I know the best for you and you're not supposed to question it at all, which is just not true. Okay? Or explaining their feelings in that way, or just asking a question. Okay? You get criticized for asking a question towards your parents these days. Okay? Some things about adults are just parents freaking out, like they feel like it's a personal attack when a younger person or their child comes to them a certain way. It's crazy. It's probably because your parents were raised completely differently, okay? Let's think about it. These parents grew up being not to speak back to your elders, not to question authority when someone's older than you, and in some cases, even physical punch that their parents said they still don't question it. Adults know best. That's what they've been taught. Your parents. So you didn't argue. If you did, you were selfish and you're ignorant or disrespectful. So they teach your kids that. But raising their kids with that kind of mindset nowadays is terrible, okay? It's not the right communication. But let's just talk about what happens these days. Kids are either shutting down completely, committing suicide from their parents for simply not listening to them or not getting understanding because the parents think they know the best, okay? But they stop speaking their minds to avoid conflict, or they push back and get punished for it. Either way, no one learns how to communicate, which is the best thing to do. Communication. Or how to express their feelings, or how to resolve conflict in a healthy way. And that's a huge part on why a lot of the generation, or the next generation, or the next, will be emotional unstable if nobody gets this shit on their wraps. Okay? But on top of that, the gender thing, boys are told to stay a man, be a man, don't cry, don't you fucking cry, bitch, you're a fucking man. Or, boys don't cry. Anyways, and girls are taught to be nice, be polite, don't be too tall, be skinny, always be petite, don't do that, don't question men authority, and don't take up too much space. And don't talk back. Did I forget that? The combined with that overprotective parenting, the constant jabbing in a wrong way, it's giving kids every comfort without responsibility. And what do you get? Adults who don't know how to handle reality, or adults living with their parents still because they don't know how to function without them because they're traumatic. But we can go on and on about that. Anyways, kids aren't fragile because they're weak. They're fragile because the parents or the parenting makes them fragile. Okay? They are teaching them to fear obedience and dependence instead of resilience, responsibility, and confidence. Okay? None of my parents taught me that. Okay? Which is a very key part of becoming an adult. Okay? But in all of that, just repeats the cycle to the next generation. Parenting should be about guidance, not control. It should be about teaching independence, respect to the ones who deserve it, and how to navigate the world. Not how to walk on eggshells and never talk back. But right now, we normalize parenting who can't handle having a simple conversation with their kids without seeing it as an attack. And that's toxic. Okay, I know I said 4 things, but me rambling and talking, I decided to add the most important thing, which is the person you are today. KKK? The person you are today. Or maybe even 3 things, okay? But anyways, let's talk about the struggles about being a woman and today, or how it always has been, okay? Let's talk about women. And I know this is going to be controversial, but just hear me out, okay? Feminism started as a fight for equality, which is great, right? But somewhere along the way, society's sending mixed messages telling women to be independent and empowered and strong, but also constantly policing how they act and how they feel and what they want. Girls are taught from a young age to shrink themselves, to be polite, and to avoid all conflicts at any cost. And if they don't, you get shamed, or you're too aggressive, or you're not assertive enough. Society claims to want women empowered, but in reality, it controls them to shape them to fit someone else's, not their own, agenda. And then that creates insecurity, confusion, and frustration instead of confident, self-aware adults. And let's talk about the reproduction control. Women are told they have freedom over their bodies, but every decision around abortion or the reproductive rights within themselves becomes political. Society manipulates it, shames it, weaponizes it. Meanwhile, men are often sidelines, families are impacted, and the next generation grows up confused about life, responsibility, and their choices. It's not empowerment, it's control disguised as freedom. So yeah, women are told that they can do anything, or you have the freedom now, so shut the fuck up. But at the same time, they're boxed in and shamed and being controlled, still to this day. And that's a huge struggle that is rarely ever talked about, that people talk about. You know how many women it took to speak up and to fight for feminism and to still deal with the shit today? And then people say, you already got it. You already got what you can become a doctor now. You're in men's spaces, so why are you still fucking talking? Girl, I can't even decide if I want a child or not. Me, not you. And you think I have the rights? You think I have the rights, bitch. I don't, okay? So, if you want feminism to stop, which is probably never gonna fucking happen, then shut the fuck up and listen. And don't do anything, okay? Don't do anything that you think is good as a man, because trust me, you fucking don't. You just don't fucking know. So shut the fuck up. Let women do what, because women are smarter. We'll get into that later. We know what's best, especially for us. So you, to making a decision, like, why would a woman make a decision about a man's balls? Like, that makes absolutely no sense, and that shouldn't be. So you shouldn't either. Okay, let's talk about something that I never, and also took a vow on the Holy Bible. When it's serious, when I'm taking a vow on something that is not true, which is the book of lies, which is the Bible and the Quran and shit like that. Anyways, I took a vow I took a vow. I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck about these people. I will never ever give a fuck about them. And if I do give a fuck about them, you have to do a lot for me to give a fuck about you. And you're probably like, are you talking about men? Correct. But they are the reason why the world is looking like this. Whether I like to think they don't have all the power, they fucking do. Okay? Because every struggle you had today, it was caused by a man. Okay? But why are they like this? It has to stem from somewhere. So let's talk about a man, or was it like being a man, or a boy, or a man, or whatever. I'm gonna be straight with you. Men, whether I like to admit it or not, they're struggling as of right now in ways that nobody talks about, and a big part of it comes from society and how society treats them and how they expected to interact with women. Okay, first of all, men are taught to suppress their emotions day by day, and don't cry, don't be soft, be tough. Meanwhile, women are raised to express themselves, but not too much that it goes against men. So men grow up bottling things, hiding their vulnerability, and learning that natural instinct to protect, in quotations, to a certain to lead, and somehow wrong. That creates insecurity because deep down, men know they're being told you're not allowed to be yourself. Then there's a struggle with women. Men are constantly told to respect women, to listen, to be sensitive, and that's great because they're really taught how to understand women as equals and how to communicate honestly without being shamed, or how to balance confidence with empathy. Instead, they see women being praised for independence and assertiveness, while they see themselves being punished in society for being direct or too masculine. And that leads to confusion, like, do I lead or follow? Do I speak up or stay quiet? Do I act confident or risk being toxic? So with all of that, they usually turn to being toxic. And that also confuses them also to being insecure. So being toxic and insecure for, not knowing what to do, how to follow, or how to do it correctly, and not being picked upon and shit like that. So men look around and see women succeeding, and so they think, in ways that they're encouraged to do themselves. They see society saying boys shrink and girls be dominant, so they get intimidated and they start doubting themselves and their value and their abilities because what they were raised to be. And once that self-doubt takes root and spreads to their life relationships, work, and social circles, it makes a bad man. So how do we fix it, okay? How do we fix this shit? Honestly, it starts by teaching boys to become human beings, not men, just to be human beings, which is being human, which is being themselves, which is living for themselves, being themselves, and not to be toxic, not to be weak, but be balanced. Teach them to feel their emotions, to communicate, to be clear, to respect boundaries, to respect responsibilities, to teach them that masculinity isn't something to be suppressed, but it's something to be harnessed, but not in ways that causes fear. Okay? Anyways, one thing in society has to stop forcing men to live in judgment or for simply existing as a man. Because I do see it all. I would, men kill themselves. I would kill myself if I was a man too. Like, honestly, I would too. But anyways, men, they need space to figure out who they truly are, okay? Because that's why they act like this. Because they don't know what they are. Because when you know what you are, when you truly know what you are, like I do, you don't get hurt about what the next person's doing. You really don't. Okay? But they need to learn from their mistakes to stand up for themselves, not in the ways that not the ways that people told them to stick up for themselves, in the ways that they truly believe. Okay? And to interact with women as women, not just objects. To treat women as their equals. Okay? Not below them. Okay? Men and women are human beings. They're literally the same thing. They're Homo sapiens. Me and you are not opponents. We're just people, okay? We're just people, and we need to understand each other if we don't want to die, to be extinct. Okay? But if we actually do that, if we actually raise men to be confident, self-aware, and emotionally intelligent, then men won't struggle as much with women or with society or with their own life, okay? Anyways, they need to be strong. but not in the ways that they've been taught, strong mentally, balanced, and capable of forming their own opinions without constantly second guessing or fearing rejection. Because now men aren't failing women, society, or themselves. Society is failing men. And until we fix that, this cycle of insecurity, confusion, and frustration will keep on repeating. So what I'm getting at, okay, the reason why I made this video, the reason why I hate these things so much, religion, the military, schools, the way kids are raised, the way society treats men and women, is not because they're just flawed systems. It's because they separate people. They divide us instead of bringing us together. Growing up, I watched shows like My Little Pony and cartoons that taught a completely different message. They taught kids that friendship matters, that working together matters, that you don't need to complete or hurt each other to succeed. That's what childhood should have been for most people, okay? Learning how to be together and how to cope, how to lift each other up. But when you look at society today, it teaches the opposite. Religion divides people over beliefs. The military divides people through violence. School divides kids with bullying and pressure and the competition instead of celebration. Parents divide generations by teaching the obedience of fear instead of communication and independence. Men and women are pitting themselves against each other instead of being taught equality and understanding.